Well, I'll start my presentation. Let's see if this works. Yes. Well, in an inspiring talk, 2021, we heard and listened to a discussion on how all the effort done by the different labs around the world will impact at least 12 of the sustainable goals from the United Nations. But we found out later that the ones that were not mentioned in that talk were actually very, very close to our daily reality. We found out that in this case, no poverty, zero hunger, quality education, gender equality, partnership for the goals for University of Guadalajara and for Guadalajara and Mexico were very, very, very important. We know that we live in the so-called global south, which represents more than 70% of the human population. We know that our poverty line, there is more than 50% of Mexico population that lives in poverty or extreme poverty. So for us, it's really, really very important to consider this. I come represent, I'm sorry that I didn't mention before, but I'm representing Mayra Gamboa, who is the director of the lab at Guadalajara, and she couldn't be here for unforeseen reasons, but her warm vision and passion are here with us today. I'm also representing University of Guadalajara, which is the second largest in Latin America, with 335,000 students in more than 19 campuses in the state of Jalisco. So our university has a vast history of striving for transformation of individuals and communities in our state and in our country, and we are very proud to build on that legacy. Here is different from here. So, can we go back or something? Well, what we were discussing and understanding, as in the previous example, is that in each case for us, we need to reinterpret the normal models that apply to all the world. We need to reinterpret them as per our real situation and reality. In this case, for example, the triple helix model that has been mentioned here, or the quadruple one that we prefer for philosophical and ethical reasons, that includes society, or the fifth helix model, and all the helices that could come after that. We really think that what we are trying to is to reinterpret them in a way that we think that different actors and stakeholders on this model are different. We really think as a university, as a public university, that society needs to be the final end for all of those projects, and that is something that needs to be taken into consideration. Also, we think that knowledge is what joins all together. So we think that these quadruple helix projects are more than just quadruple helix. Not all stakeholders are the same, and we really think that knowledge isn't the one that needs to be like in the center and making sure that society needs are involved and are the final goal of it. So we can have this ecosystem that can flourish and give to all society to fulfill the needs and make sure that we are representing and focusing on the real problems. So problems of people, and people like Eva, that you know from Guadalajara, and that we have been working with her and her community for several years, and that probably the Boston team should remember her from the workshops when she was saying and introducing herself. I like all you're saying, but you need to go and take a look at my neighborhood. It's like different. The reality is totally different there, and it was a very big shock and very important that we went there and we really understood what the conditions were for her. She's a worker and a leader for her community. And when she introduced herself, she said that, they call me the Barbie in the community. Later on, she started developing skills. She finished high school, and she then told us that actually she didn't like her name before, but now she liked it. and my name is Eva, she told us. And that was very, very important for us because it's like she outgrown this Barbie concept and really understood and felt that she was okay with her own name. So for us, that was very, very important. Now she's planning to study university and learning English so she can participate in the workshops. And this is a representation also of this community that is very close to our campuses and that we have been working, and a lot of the things that have been working there, that we have been working there, will be applied then to different scales, as we will see later. So, having said a little bit about the why, then we'll go to the how, and this is where we want to go to the projects. The first one that I will mention, the Manantlan Biosphere Reserve, is a long-dated project of the University of Guadalajara. We are talking about 3 decades here, one of the first biosphere reserves in Latin America. And that was the confluence of several important political, socioeconomic processes there, the confluence of several of these processes in which the indigenous community was fighting for their rights against logging and mining companies. And the university, with a team, started developing sustainable goals for the forest and for the environment there, and started working in this model that I described before, in which we were kind of regulating the discussions between government, private sector, and the community. This happened a long ago, but really was the first steps towards some of the projects that we are working today. And one of the most important ones, for example, that came exactly after this, three decades later probably, was the Environmental Sciences Museum, which is being built now in Guadalajara, will be one of the most important museums in Latin America. Actually, the part of the team that worked on the reserve then came and worked, and is working on this project that is about to be finished. And that is a project very important to our city and to Latin America, and that puts the urban space, the city, as the center of the discussion of the future of nature. We know that 50% of population lives in city, and in some years, 75% of population will live in city. In Mexico, 75% population lives already, so will live in the future already. This is a very, very important project for us that has been a foundation for a lot of the projects that we have been working after it. Again, the city is at the center of the museum, and we're trying to understand how the city ecosystem, or space, or landscape, we call it, will affect all the natural ecosystem around. Actually, it also hosts the City Science Lab since last year. So our lab is within the Museum of Environmental Sciences in Guadalajara. And that is the team here there saying hello. Well, the Wixárika community is in the western part of Mexico. It is an indigenous community in Mexico that we as a university have been working with them for several years already, striving and looking and trying for their rights for the land against all the different interests that coexist there. And last year, we took the decision with the community, of course, to have the first university campus in the Wixárika area, in which more than 2,000 students from the community will be there. That was a land that was selected, and this is a project. And actually, several of the CS Lab Guadalajara team members are working in this project that aims to bring not just all the knowledge from the university to the communities, but also to learn from all the ancient knowledge that they can share with us, and that actually has a lot to do with the earth and with how to coexist with nature. It's part of their cosmology, so we are very excited to learn a lot from them too. Lomas del Centinela, I already mentioned a little bit about this. This had to do a lot with informal settlements, which again is a big part of what is the Global South and our daily reality. This is probably 10 minutes away from the museum. So in the museum, we have a lot of diversity in 1 kilometer of around the museum, in which we have Loma de Centinela, which is one of the most informal poorest communities there, around there. And then in the other side, in the same kilometer, we have one of the highest power of economic power in the state. So we have all that diversity around. We have been working with them with a lot of projects in the last 4 years. And again, it has to do with projects actually about, that has to do with poverty, with hunger, with different things that are their daily reality, so we cannot lose focus on those special and important issues for them. We also have been working with them on censoring the water with Andres and some other team members. And actually, what I wanted to mention is that we are scaling this project, working with municipalities, state government, so we can actually scale it to different levels in which we can access to some of the most strategic projects of the state and be able to implement these measurements with sensors that we are working with the students of the university. One of the most important projects we are pursuing and working on now has to do with architecture with our architects that aims to not just provide different solutions for people that has the auto construction, that they need to auto construct their houses there. That is more than 60% of population in Mexico. And we want to provide tools that we can help them design their houses, and actually that we can scale this up to actually provide some different resources, tools, and different kind of techniques for any number of applications. And last but not least, we want to talk about, and we haven't heard a lot about this quadruple helix model research parks that we are promoting for the university and developing from the University of Guadalajara, in which the private sector, we will live in a country where, and in a place with the technology sector is very strong, and we are called the Silicon Valley of Latin America, and we are just 2 hours away from the real Silicon Valley in San Francisco or in the West United States. And basically, we are developing these projects in which we start to apply the concept of campus as a city, because our campuses are so big. We have 335,000 students. Our campuses are 20,000 students, 25,000, 30,000 students each. So we start to see things and phenomena that are more of those of a city than that of a campus. And actually, we are using these campus processes and projects to make sure that we have the transdisciplinary involvement. That means out of the academy, including all these stakeholders that we mentioned before. And actually, we are using these projects as test beds for a lot of different projects, technology projects and transference projects that have to do with studying the city within our campuses, and then we can scale up to municipalities, districts, or even the country. And that means probably using AI, automatic detection of mobility counts, or digital twins, which is one of our lines of research too, and all the projects that has to do with agent-based modeling that could apply to our different campuses and city. So I think that's it, and please come and join us. Thank you very much.